The big and unsurprising news of today, it's official. The Delaware Supreme Court has restored Elon Musk's 2018 CEO Performance Award, which Tesla shareholders at the time overwhelmingly voted in support of. In the process, a activist pretending to be a judge, Kathleen McSeebohm, has completely destroyed her credibility and career, never mind causing many corporations to flee Delaware, and it won't stop. That's the find out part of effing around. Congratulations, Kathleen McSeebohm. And now the dark cloud hanging over Tesla has dissipated. This is a big win for the democratic shareholder process. We voted for this in 2018. We voted again after this activist tried to spit in our faces and tell us, no, I know better than you. But as expected and as predicted, the Delaware Supreme Court have common sense and reason and not out to get people like Elon bad. So this was obvious, but now we know for sure. Some commentary from Sawyer Merritt. This legal battle lasted 7 years, 6 months and 14 days. The case treated one of the most value-creating compensation plans in corporate history. By the way, I think it's the most value-creating and entirely eat what you kill. You don't perform, you don't offer enormous value, you don't add enormous value, you don't create enormous value and execute incredibly. You don't get anything at all. Treated this compensation plan as abusive, despite Tesla shareholders winning big and approving it. The whole thing was a big waste of time. By the way, it was a waste of time and money. He adds, we can finally move on now. Indeed. Farzad posted this. The lawyers, aka vultures. By the way, not all lawyers are vultures, but these ones are. The vultures that are getting paid, as in who brought this case, who fucked over Tesla shareholders, those vultures should instead pay Tesla shareholders for damages. And this would, of course, be fair. These fuckfaces, by the way, will be awarded tens of millions of dollars through bringing this case, fucking Tesla shareholders, wasting everybody's time. It's absurd. By the way, I know how to solve this problem. It's called loser pays. You bring a ridiculous case like this and you lose, you don't get anything and you pay the legal costs for all parties involved. Guess what? That would be the end of these vultures trying to get a massive payday. It's pretty simple. Loser pays. If you bring a case and you lose, you pay, as opposed to getting awarded literally tens of millions of dollars. Messed up. Alexandra Mers, aka Tesla Boomer Mama, who was heavily involved, at least in bringing awareness to this, posting today, Delaware Supreme Court affirms Elon's control and unfairness finding, but reverses rescission, e.g. the theft of his fairly earned compensation. Reinstates 2018 plan. Gives plaintiff $1 in nominal damages, suck shit mate, and counsel fees based on value provided. Yeah, value provided was negative, so they should be paying Tesla shareholders, not getting awarded anything. Still absurd. This lets Elon keep the compensation while resolving the lawsuit. Tears in my eyes. We did this, she says. Elon Musk replies, thank you for your unwavering support. Also, big shout out to Amy for her involvement. Both Amy and Alexandra deserve a lot of credit here. Now, as we approach the end of the year, Tesla stock is hovering around all-time highs, not far off $500 per share, but yet to break that barrier. And since we're so close to 500, the obvious thing to do now as an analyst, the courageous thing to do is increase your price target to $500 per share. Where was everybody back in April 2025? Now, I don't know specifically about Deutsche Bank. Let's check. Asking Grok for some help here. Fuck. Really? Back in April, it was $3.45. Imagine my shock. Meanwhile, another price target increase up to $530. If I didn't know any better, I might get the impression that many of the analysts covering Tesla stock simply chase in whatever direction they think the stock is currently headed. And if it heads too far away from where they currently are with their price target based on where it was heading or was around last time, they simply change their price target to be really close to where it is now. Of course, they're much smarter than that, so obviously that's not what they're doing. I don't even know why I said that. So, in totally unrelated matters, David Sachs apparently believes that 2026 is shaping up to be a pretty good year.
What we had during the Biden years is we had 9% inflation. We had a very weak economy. We did have a recession. It was that 2-quarter shallow recession. And the media even tried to start redefining what a recession was to avoid those headlines. But what the Biden administration did in response to that is they went hog wild with government hiring. And what we're seeing now is inflation is now coming back down, and we're seeing the number of government workers come down to a more reasonable level, and the private economy is making up for it. We still have a relatively historically low unemployment rate. So those numbers look good. Then you look at the deficit. We've reduced the deficit year over year by $600 billion. That will help bring interest rates down. And then on prices, you got the lowest gas prices in 5 years, below $3 nationally. And then finally on wages, real wages are up by over $1,000 on average. And it's $1,300 for factory workers, $1,800 for construction workers. And again, that's a big change from the Biden years where you saw that in real terms, wages went down by about $3,000 on average per worker. So look, I mean, it seems to me like we're on the cusp of a golden age here. I don't see how the numbers could really be better. And then on top of it, again, you've got this AI tailwind, which I think is a huge positive, not a negative, which is adding roughly 2% GDP growth every year because of huge CapEx investment with so far no job loss associated with that. So I would just say sit back and enjoy this. I think we're headed for a gangbusters 2026. Rates are coming down. Inflation's coming down. And you're also getting tax cuts going into effect next year because of the big, beautiful bill. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, plus the standard deductions being beefed up. So people haven't even felt the benefit of those tax cuts. That's coming in April. I don't see how things could be much better.
So if David Sachs is right, and he probably is, a lot of the stuff he cited was existing data. But if he's right on his prediction, 2026, golden age, continued economic growth, increased prosperity, rates coming down, in my opinion, this would be the perfect tailwind for a company that's already executing near flawlessly. Will be rapidly and widely scaling a fleet of autonomous vehicles, furthering the development of a humanoid robot, continuing to pull further ahead. Of course, that's a hypothetical company because I don't actually know of a company that would fit that description. So I don't know why I said that either. But if such a company did exist, and if David's right, boy oh boy, 26 could be an interesting year. Although, if this hypothetical company did exist and was called Tesla, there'd be one major concern actually, which of course would be the competition coming. Finally, after 15 years of us being told the competition was coming, and not embarrassingly fast and all over themselves, but actually for Tesla. Wait, what's this? Oh, some competition coming. Uh-oh, look out Tesla. I take it all back. 2026 is going to be a disaster. News. Volkswagen has announced that it is cancelling the all-electric ID Buzz in the US after just a year on the market. Well, that's awkward. Quote, following a careful assessment of current EV market conditions. By the way, let's talk about the quote-unquote current EV market. The best-selling electric vehicle on Earth, Tesla's Model Y. But you know what? Fuck the electric vehicle market. Let's expand that to the vehicle market. What's the best-selling vehicle on the planet? Oh, it's the same fucking vehicle, the Model Y, which, by the way, itself is doing well over 1 million units per year. So the current EV/actual just entire automotive market has an example of a pinnacle product doing over 1 million units a year. Not just the best-selling electric vehicle, but vehicle, period, on the planet. That's the current conditions of the EV market. If you make a great, compelling electric vehicle for a reasonable price, people will buy it in droves. So let's continue from this PR statement. Apparently, following a careful assessment of the current EV market conditions, we have made the strategic decision not to move forward with model year 2026 ID Buzz production for the US market. The ID Buzz, by the way, this is now, end quote, the ID Buzz started at 60,000 with a 234 mile range and a 91 kilowatt hour battery. So let me just translate this. Following years of delusion, cope and hopium, we have realized we can't compete with Tesla. We give up. But don't worry, VW is the only example of the supposed competition that was allegedly coming for Tesla that's actually just come in 3 seconds and then apologized and says that doesn't normally happen. Wait, what's this? Oh yeah, that's right. Reminder, recently, earlier this week, Ford announced it expects to take a massive $19.5 billion write-down related to its EV investments. And that's not the hilarious part, nor is the fact that Ford lost $13 billion of its EV business since 2023, less than 2 years ago. No, this is the funny part. Quote, instead of ploughing billions into the future knowing that we can't compete with Tesla, I think I misread that, same meaning though, knowing, check this out, this is literally from the Ford CEO, knowing these large EVs will never make money, we are pivoting. Again, translation, instead of burning billions of dollars, trying unsuccessfully in a futile effort to compete with Tesla selling electric vehicles, which will never be able to make money competing on the same planet as Tesla is, we give up. In conclusion, 2026 shaping up to be an excellent year for Tesla. Maybe not so much some legacy automotive companies. Want more content? Early access? Bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 has been part of my daily health protocol for almost half a decade. It's packed full of vitamins and minerals and helps me fill in nutritional gaps while supporting energy, digestion, and immune function. It also has prebiotics and probiotics to promote gut health. I take my health very seriously, and so should you. Try AG1 today by visiting drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link in the pinned comment and enjoy a free welcome kit with vitamin D3 plus K2 and AG1 travel packs. That's drinkag1.com/SMR.